And on the heels of that razor-sharp barb, we're into our final round of Swiss tonight, and what will end up being our final round of coverage. Brandon Gibbs on Maze's End, a Bant's Maze's End deck that we saw earlier in the night. We saw it lose earlier in the night, and then he rattled off 2 wins. And now he's in our winning round against Jonathan Wright, who's playing Junk Midrange, who we saw also in last round as well. So the winner of this will make it to our top 4 tonight, but like I said, I'm not going to be able to cover that due to some previous obligations. My name is always Zachary Gibbs. I'm joined by Garrett Meadows tonight. So Jonathan's deck, so far, I think we've seen it twice tonight. We've seen Scotty play it to a win a couple weeks ago. Very much a controlling style mid-range deck. It does have some business in the form of Lockstone Smiter and Advent of the Worm early, but a lot of times those are just giant walls that slow down the aggro decks until you can get this fella out, which is a turn 3 Obsidat against the Maze's End deck. Is that pretty good?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you know what Obsidat doesn't do?
Attack.
Damage.
It doesn't attack. But in this matchup, he's very much going to be the aggro. So he's going to be beating down as best he can, and Brandon is going to desperately try to figure out a way to win this game. When the Maze's End deck in the sideboard, you have to sideboard in some other win condition, because you lose to Pithing Needle, right?
Right,
so like,
have Cackling Perimeter.
Yeah. Could you not just play like 1 Aetherling too?
We could. That'd be too good, though.
You don't want to play good cards at this deck. Mono, bad cards.
Yeah.
I understand. Let's stay true to form, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we play our 4th land here. Obsidat phases back in, sends Jonathan back up to 22. More importantly, Brandon down to 16. And while that is the only creature Jonathan has on his side of the board that can effectively do damage at this point, it's still going to be a card that Brandon literally cannot deal with. As I don't think there's a single instant speed removal card in his deck, at least in game 1.
He has Putrefy on his sideboard.
Mm-hmm.
Which you have to bring in, obviously, for the Pithing Needles.
Mm-hmm. And for the Obsidats. So we're going to activate our Maze's End here. Unfortunately for Brandon, he drew what may be the only 2 basic force in his deck in his opening hand and the first few turns.
Well, let him cast that Gatekeeper Vine on curve on turn 2.
And then, interestingly enough, he goes and gets a green-white land.
I think that was go get first target gate.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Shallow Grave. You just flip over your deck and find the first gate.
You do just find whichever's most convenient.
Yeah. Hard your enemy whenever you're playing Maze's End is obviously the clock.
Mm-hmm. Just to answer a quick...
It's also obviously how bad your deck is.
Well, there's another Gate Creeper Vine, which reads, draw a Guild Gate, Fog Obsidat for a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Just to answer a quick non-sequitur in the chat, asking if we ever run Commander events. We run Commander events all the time in the form of we just play Commander all the time, but we do not have any Commander tournaments. Partially because we have a firm belief that Commander and Tournament should not be in the same sentence.
Those things are, that's an oxymoron.
Yeah, but we do play a lot of Commander. I've been asked in the past why I do not stream Commander events or record them, as you've seen Advent of the Worm, and that is because it is impossible to film a 4-player game. So an Advent end of turn adds some more power to the board. Obsidat phases back in. We still have a chump blocker, and we still have Druid's Deliverance up, because Druid's Deliverance is the 2-mana fog, right?
And Defend the Hearth. Defend the Hearth.
There's also 2 mana.
Yep.
So serving here with the team, we're going to block Obsidat, take 6, down to 8. And then phase Obsidat back out. So we're on a 4-turn clock just from Obsidat triggers.
Jonathan holding up another Advent, or simply could have a handful of removal spells, which are obviously dead in this matchup.
Yes, there's a lot of things like, well, Abrupt Decay can hit D-Spheres, which Brandon is playing main deck, but cards like Ultimate Prize and Doomblade and Hero's Downfall are literally dead.
Right.
You can kill your own creature.
You can
Some would call it a poor play, but you can do it.
The Gatekeeper Vine to stop a chump
That's
blocker,
true. I stand corrected.
The Swirl Gatekeepers, the Green Gatekeepers.
Are those in the main deck?
I think so.
I have not seen one so far tonight. That obviously does not mean he doesn't play them.
I did. Alright, so...
Oh, you saw them?
So, let's just leave it at that.
You saw them on your way to...
Getting 2-0'd by this deck.
Getting 2-0'd by the Maze's End deck. So it's Wright control, isn't it? The white card?
Yes. Gain life for
yes.
all the creatures that they control.
We saw him earlier tonight almost navigate out of losing to a Grave Merchant deck by obviously not fogging the Grave Merchant trigger, but gaining enough life and ahead of it so that he survived at exactly 1, and then died next turn. But it was cool to see regardless. Obviously, the loss of life effects. Grey Merchant in that round, Obsidat in this round. Obviously, not the greatest of matchups for the fog decks.
Voice, so if you're gonna fog, we'll get an elemental.
But I guess it doesn't really matter.
It does not.
No. Serving with everything. There's a
defend the hearth. It's a 2-mana fog.
2-mana fog. Jonathan, like a good player, remembers his trigger. Looks for it. I'm not going to have one of those. It's mythic. Just use that elemental thing.
Well, he's already used the backwards one for a 5/5 token.
Just use that. That's Ashiok. It's the proxy to Ashiok. So end of turn, are we going to activate Maze's End here? Or is this main phase?
Who would know? Who would have thought Thawing Glaciers? Thawing Glaciers and Gaia's Cradle in standard. Equal power level, right? Yeah, that was main phase because he just dropped his Maze's End again.
Thawing Glaciers is infinitely better than Maze's End. So Obsidat comes back in.
I mean, Thawing Glaciers doesn't say win the game on it. So I think one's clearly better than the other.
No, say talk is better than... Oh, yeah, well, that's true. I understand what you're saying. Still, you're wrong, but I understand what you mean. He does a good devil's advocate point. So passing back Jonathan now with a 6/6 elemental token off of Voice. The Voice that mated, a 5/5 Advent token, Obsidat, a Sylvan Caryatid, and an Elvish Mystic, and every land in his deck, it seems like. Staring down 3 untapped mana, and obviously a fog coming from Brandon. We're going to get another Magic Tip card. It's not a 6/6, it's a 7/7 at this point. There's an Whip of Obsidat.
Whip of Erebos.
What did I say? Obsidat?
Whip the Obsidat.
It might as well be Whip of Obsidat, because it's late on a Friday, and also that's the only thing you ever want to whip, is the Obsidat. So what has Brandon got here? He has at a point where he can keep chaining fogs. How many gates is he away? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's now activating for his 6th. So we're 3 turns away basically. It activates on the the 4th turn you win.
You also got to fear the second Obsidat. So this may be a 2-turn block from Jonathan.
True. You could put him down to 4, then drain him, and you are right.
This Voice Resurgence, though. Do you want to remember your triggers?
Because he gains more life?
Because he gains more life. I mean, it's obviously, like, that would be...
it's actually a very interesting point.
Be intentionally cheating, but...
Yes, in a world where it's not a scummy thing to do, this actually may be a point at which you don't want to, because there's literally no upside.
Right. It would probably get you kicked out of a competitive REL tournament.
I don't understand why Jonathan feels the need to put the dice on all 3 of them. Like this one, I need 2 dice to indicate it's an 8/8. But these other 2, what are their power and toughness? We don't know.
He's actually got 8 dice on an 8/8 token right now.
All right.
He's bored. One player gets to look through their deck every turn and play cards and all this stuff. Jonathan just gets to rotate his cards.
Is there a reason why we're doing this at sorcery speed?
Yeah, so you can replay your Maze's End.
No, good point.
It comes into play tab, so...
I guess there was a point in this chain where he couldn't have done it at the end of Jonathan's turn, so he needs to replay his Maze's End at sorcery speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7? Or is... Yep, 7. So we're up to 7 gates. And I believe it was... I can't remember who it was in the chat, but I think it was Weakstar. 7 gates, 10 fogs, 1 loss. So we've reached the eponymous 7 gates portion of the game. Does Jonathan have the second copy of Obsidat? And interesting from Brandon, we've only seen 1 copy of Riot Control here. Hero's Downfall, we can whip back the Obsidat, and that's going to be good enough. So the strategy I talked about earlier of murdering your own creatures turns out to be pretty good for Jonathan. Of course, that's only in the instance where you have the whip of Obsidat, or the whip of... These players are 1-4 on the day.
We started with 3 buys somehow.
What is on the upcoming schedule? We've got Roanoke. Is there a GP in Roanoke?
GP somewhere in Virginia.
GP in Cincinnati.
There's a classic tomorrow in Columbus. 5K. I won't be going for that.
I won't be either.
That's right now. Look at this crap.
You could club people to death with your cast.
Or just my giant leg.
Or your giant swollen appendage. Alright, so these guys have moved into game 3 here. Jonathan up a game with his deck that actually does things versus Brandon's deck which does not do things. There was only one other match that mattered, and that was Joseph Deal versus Justin Carpenter, which in that case you would watch... or Joseph Deal versus Justin Carpenter. Justin would spend 10 minutes thinking about his turns, and then all of Joseph's turns combined wouldn't equal 10 minutes. No. Because he's playing mono red.
Surprising everybody.
He seems to always, at some point, he builds a real deck, then he gets frustrated with real deck, then he trades all of his real deck cards into the cheapest deck available in the format, and then later will rebuild a real deck. So
right.
it's
he's granted the value out of a few tournaments.
So activating Maze's End here. Jonathan finally comes up with a Voice of Resurgence, so we can actually put some pressure on here. Looks like in the chat there's Ice Storm preaching in Tennessee.
Have you talked about the Ice Storm down at the GP this weekend?
Yeah, it's ruining everything.
Not for Owen Turnbull, he's already there.
He's going to win by default. Yes. There's only 3 people here, and one of them is one back-to-back Grand Prix.
He's the only Platinum Pro there. Everybody else has to play around the one.
You know, I know it's going to be nearly impossible. What's the format? Is it standard again? Or is it sealed?
Standard, yeah.
How? I mean, I know it's a credible long shot, but with a lot of people not being able to make it to the tournament, I know Sam Black had to turn around and go home. Like, a lot of people, like, literally can't make it.
There's probably going to be about a 500-person tournament.
What if he wins that one, too? Like, what if he wins 3 in a row? Like, that will never be duplicated, right? It requires, like...
He's due for it.
Active... Whatever. It literally requires an act of divine intervention in order for you to win the 3rd one. The Legacy one's the one that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he does win this one, there's like an asterisk next to it.
But old GPs used to be 500 people.
Right.
There should be an asterisk next to every GP you win with over 1,000 people. The asterisk is the footnoted. There's a lot of damn people this tournament. Oh man.
So I see you grabbing the Riot Control. Sounds like we need some Riot Control here in the group closet.
Well, we're getting to tear it up because I've already announced I'm leaving after this game. There's nothing to commentate because it's just like, does Brandon stall long enough to accidentally win, or does Jonathan play real cards to the point where he actually wins? Why did we tap every mana? Oh, activating our maze. Go get yourself a Guildgate.
I played against Brandon last round.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about this deck a lot. This was my first idea of a deck for Theros Block.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about it a lot, and he's like, yeah, man, it's so fun. And I agree with him that it's fun, but with a small side point of for about the first 5 minutes.
It's a fun deck to play, much like every control deck. It's fun to like try and find a way to win.
Once.
Yeah, but like it is not a.
I don't want to play this at a big event. I don't even want to play this at FNM.
Look, this is why I don't play Storm and Legacy. Is because it's a giant math problem that you're doing constantly. You don't want to feel like you're on the back foot the entire evening. But we're leaving up another Druid's Deliverance here. Jonathan finding an Elspeth, but ironically Elspeth's ultimate doesn't actually win the game through fogs. It's the worst Planeswalker against fogs, as it just makes dudes and pumps dudes that will then get fogged. Vickers, you out?
Yeah.
Later, bud.
I've lost.
I have you one. I have you one of these if you want it. Just let me know.
I can trade for it. Sure. Just, I'll be here for a while.
Did I give you a Pithing Needle too?
No.
Did I give you 2 duress?
Yeah, you did give me 2 direct.
Jeez.
Oh, one of those.
Vickers.
Those are straight from my Legacy deck, man. Those are Legacy cards.
Why don't you get Urza ones?
I need to get Urza ones.
Yeah, you do.
I think I have some extra ones.
I have dual deck Lingering Souls. I have dual deck Source Clusters.
I mean, the dual deck Lingering Souls, they have less printing, so I mean, that's kind of cool.
We have 2 Thought Seizes here. Jonathan just goes ahead and shows him the other one. He grabs Riot Control and an actual fog. Riot Control being the one that matters here. And more importantly, leaves Brandon without the ability to fog with this attack, which drops him down to 8.
Man, if that Voice Resurgence ever dies, voice token plus Elspeth is quite the combo.
I mean, you say that, but we're leaving 3 mana up, so we can hear his downfall.
What is this?
I don't know. I never played with them. Never sided them in.
So you're not allowed to damage other people's cards or sleeves, right?
Oh my god, I will give you like
it's not
all the duresses.
Are you saying it's not a control-heavy metagame out there?
No, it's not.
Did you not play against... I mean, Maze's End seems to be pretty popular tonight.
I wish I would have played against it. Yeah.
Over half our feature matches have featured it. I use feature very loosely there.
I would put it in my sideboard when Maze's in. That way I could leave my sideboard up to confuse my opponents.
I think Needle does shut down Maze's in. Person in the chat. Since it is an activated ability.
Was person watching? I didn't see that he was...
You can still tap it for 1 colorless mana. But then it just becomes...
Is that enough? Is we have all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8.
Why don't you, instead of the threat test count, you could have the gate count.
I never want to do what you just said.
You don't want to have the gate count?
No.
Man.
And there is... What's that one called? Seeds of something?
Seeds of boring.
Defend the heart. The seeds of boring. I have sowed the seeds of boring.
You can't do anything. You may have 20 creatures, but you can't do nothing.
That sounds like a Mastodon album, Sowing the Seeds of Boring.
Who?
Who? You know what happens when you make a funny joke? When you're around Adam? You get Vickers Snickers. Ew. There it is. What happened?
Who won? Darn it, I was snickering. Well, let's watch a replay on the stream.
Brandon didn't win. Because
Here we go.
He's cast Urban Evolution, draws 3 cards, doesn't find a fog, and that's it.
Was that it?
Was that?
Oh my goodness.
Oh
no. We know someone plays a gate.
Yeah.
He's got something.
Oh, this is last turn.
Yeah, well, we gotta see why they scooped it up.
We are watching the delayed replay here.
Apparently Brandon won.
Did he really win?
They're sideboarding.
We're the worst. Like, I genuinely don't care. That's the problem about this matchup. The Mason deck was fun the first time. But then it's just really slow.
Yeah.
Really boring.
I play fog. Okay. Do you have a fog? Yeah, I do.
Oh, he played the 9th one and then activates for the 10th one and then he wins.
Oh, okay.
All
So
right.
exciting.
Congratulations.
Four maybe.
I take a bath, wash everything else. I couldn't reach my toes.
Good story. I would have got you like a toilet brush or something, been like, here, have at it.
Oh, I can use my mom's toothbrush.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Hey.
everything about this is the worst.
I hope she's not watching. I hope she is watching. She doesn't know how to use computers. Alright, so we got
a game on.
we have 2 mana dorks. We're attacking for 1.
Gotta get that damage in early.
You'll beat down. Oh, Lifebane
That's a
Zombie.
Lifebane Zombie.
Is he going to get a Restoration Angel? Nope.
We'll see if it gets any green creatures. The only creatures that Brandon
Oh, it
plays
does.
are
Ooh, got a
green.
Gatekeeper.
Game Creeper.
Yeah, if you were, here's the thing, if you were on the play against this deck,
Mm-hmm.
if you can even just turn 3 Lifebane Zombie, it plays so many gates that it usually has to play its Gatekeeper vines on turn 3. So you can nab their Gatekeeper vines.
Or the
Man.
other one that gained 7.
Yeah, the green Gatekeeper.
That's an example of old hashtag value.
Lessons from Garrett.
Hey,
Ho.
I've prepared for the Mazes End meta game.
I can tell.
After it knocked me out of states from Jamaican Chad. Round 1 Jamaican Chad didn't get there against his Diabolic Tutor or Demonic Tutor or whatever Mazes End deck.
I'm sure he gave you some nice rub-ins too.
Yeah, well, he had to tutor for the fog. That was the hard part of his match.
I've given up the ghost. Just going to go home and listen to more Dozer.
You should, too bad they broke up and became Greenleaf.
So here's the punishment for playing out all of your mana dorks. You're going to get riot controlled and gain some more life.
Consider every riot controlled, son. Son? So, Brandon goes back up to 20 off gaining 6 from that riot control. And he has 1, 2, 3, 4,
No, gain 6.
4 gates naturally here. We're going to tap out for an urban evolution so we can play another land here.
That's sketchy.
Wait, if you're going to cast it, and plays another gate, so no mazes in here, but 5 unique gates so far. And still at our starting life total of 20, facing down. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize there's an elemental already.
From the right
1, 2, 3,
control.
4, 5, 6, 12. So dropping Brandon down to 8, but he's going to be able to untap here, up 3 cards from the evolution,
And play a fog.
Or verdict.
or a verdict fog.
Ooh,
The,
man.
the most vicious of all fogs.
Can't get those haze creatures in.
Fog,
It's
destroy
called-
all
It's
creatures.
called for a dog. Supreme Fog.
We're playing our second basic. We're gonna have the evolution here. Do we have the mana for it?
Yeah.
Interesting. We did not leave the white mana open.
And also that we played our lane before. Getting
I might
two
have.
lands.
There's a
Mazes
mazes
End.
end.
Leaving up any assortment of fogs here except for right control.
Uh-oh.
Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize.
Man.
Response fog.
In response fog. Get an elemental
Maybe
token.
you want to. Oh man, he doesn't have a
Revealing divination
and all the gates.
and all the gates. So
Yeah.
pretty good Thoughtseize. So
In case you
Brandon,
guys missed that, it's divination and all the gates.
slam it.
Brandon's living on a
Slam
prayer.
it. He's only halfway there too.
I
That's the
know, he
problem.
does.
If he now in this situation, if he took your hand, if you promised to make it and you swore, then would the result of living on the prayer be okay? Are we doing this in upkeep to prevent to make our draw better?
It could be,
Probably not.
but it's probably just going to be main phase.
I like it upkeep because you have to draw a fog or a divination here, otherwise you're straight dizzles. That means dead.
Hopefully he tapped his mana right in case he draws a Supreme Verdict, and then he won't be straight dead.
I see a white, a blue, a white, and a green.
You could also just not do anything.
Slam it.
Cast, yeah, that was upkeep. Instead of waiting till his main phase to cast a divination.
Still had all these guild gates.
Man.
You nailed it. So congratulations to Jonathan Wright.
B. Gibbs.
He is your
Turbo Blard.
he makes it to the top 8 where he'll join the mono black deck of Brian Gross, the white weenie deck of Anthony,
Then you were James Wayne.
of Aaron Henry,
You were James.
James.
and then the mono red deck of James Ferris. Or Justin Carp. No, whoever. I honestly don't know. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I also honestly don't care. Because I'm going to hit on the road because my sister-in-law and her husband are coming in. And I like them. And I would like to spend time with them as opposed to spend time in this broom closet. So, thanks for watching tonight.
I've been here for 2 weeks. So.
Let's see. Heck, we might try to fire off a Legacy. Is it Legacy next week or a Modern next
I
week?
don't know, I'll be here.
Yes, Garrett. Garrett won't be busy working as he is busy having a broken ankle now. But yeah, we'll try to stream the Modern next week to make up for this.
Think your mom can
But anyway,
squeeze in a
thanks.
different toe scrub.
Never talk about that anymore. But guys, thanks thanks for watching tonight. Make sure you follow us on our various forms of social media. Click the follow button; it's over there. And then we will see you here next week, hopefully, possibly on Wednesday. Have yourself a good weekend. Stay warm, stay safe, and we will see you then.